and they change their behavior, which is our ultimate goal. Yes, ma'am. Here first.
Mr. Gallant and Major Gallant, and last year I asked you about the percent when you're talking about the list of offenders. I asked you about the list, the percent of Latinos included in that list. Do you have the percent this time for Latinos?
No, we don't keep statistics like that. I mean, there are some Latinos on the list that we have dealt with every year.
At least 5 people, but
no, it's probably accurate over a period of time, but we didn't actually go back and look at that.
We could provide the demographical breakdown, but like I said, the list is so fluid, and that's not something that we're trying. Sure, absolutely, we can talk. We can get that for you. Yes, sir.
Does being you mentioned the additional prosecutions you're seeing with more post-offenders. Does being a post-offender affect a sentence, or are you seeing longer sentences as a result of a person being a post-offender as a result as compared to
Well, not it. What we're seeing is a fast tracking of the cases, so the case gets attention more. Okay, so if we get multiple convictions on somebody, right, because they continually go to the front of the docket, then eventually they're going to get more time. Make sense? So not necessarily because of post, but because they're a priority, and because they're going to get our constant attention, and because they're going to go to the front of the DA's priority as well. They end up getting quite a bit of time a lot sooner, not necessarily just because they're on post, though.
And the other hope is, too, is that as we go through, we're building better cases. We do utilize our police attorneys to look at a lot of these cases. Just to give us another set of eyes to say, this could make this case better before we present it to the district attorney. So, I mean, even that helps. So on top of that, so we're trying to build better cases that hopefully can get prosecuted. In other words, you have less cases dismissed because of issues with the case.
So you're not seeing longer sentences, it's the getting to trial faster.
Longer sentences as compared to what would be my question. I mean, what we're seeing is we're getting longer sentences, we're getting long sentences for people because they're our priorities. Now, I don't know that they're getting any longer with, you know what I mean, with similar offenders anywhere else, because what we're doing is we're focusing on people who are most impacting us right now. Makes sense? So it's hard to compare that.
The sentence is commensurate with the crime.
Correct.
Now, the increase in the habitual felon cases, now that's a status that will result in a lengthier sentence.
What about, can you say something about the correlation between this program being in for a year and crime stats, which is what we're here for today?
Can I tell you definitively? We haven't done I'd have to defer to my analysts, and they got plenty of work to do, and that'll be another thing that we'll have them take a look at. But what I can tell you is we are confident that taking these party people out of play lowers our crime rate, because if we have them in jail, if we have them detained, they're not reoffending. And if you have people who repetitively offend and they're taken out of play for a certain length of time, yes, I think that's going to have an impact, because they can't offend while they're in jail.
You were talking earlier about having some of the same priorities now with those different agencies.
Yes, ma'am.
And a moment ago you talked about there might be a couple thousand post-offenders that y'all are
Total.
putting priority on. It's hard to put priority on a couple
Sure.
thousand offenders over at the courthouse.
I'm with you.
Then
See, but you got to think, post doesn't just stop there. It goes, these might be people who have been released and are now on probation as well. Make sense? So these are not people that we focus on as much. If we got them on electronic monitoring, these are not people that we are constantly having to monitor because we know where they are. Make sense? So the people who are still actively out there offending are the people who would be our highest of priority. Make sense? Just
still
because
a lot of people, though.
it could be, yes. But what we have to do is we have to manage what we can do and what our capacity is. All right? And I can tell you, if we were focusing on 2,000 people at one time, we would not be as successful.
Right.
Yes.
Yes.
But for the most part, we got 600 people who are waiting, who are in jail or waiting to be released onto electronic monitoring. So that's 600 that we don't have to focus on anyway. So, yes, to your point, yes, 2,000 would be a great number, but we don't have 2,000 at one time that we would be focusing on. Yes, sir.
Well, how many are you really focusing on when you were talking about?
It varies. A division could have as low as 10 or as many as 15. It just varies. And it's hard to give you a firm number because the number fluctuates daily. But that would be a good average to look at, roughly 10 people per division. So you're looking at anywhere around 100, 130 people.
And again, those change. As you go throughout the year, those are going to change. You're going to have some you'll find are not active, so you're not going to waste your time concentrating your resources on those folks. You'll move to something else.
One or two more guys, then we're going to open it up to one-on-ones if you would mind.
Is
Yes, sir.
anyone who is on electronic monitoring automatically a post-offender?
Correct. Correct.
And does that also apply to probation? Anyone who's on probation automatically?
Not necessarily. Anyone that's on probation, that's one of our parties as well. Yeah, it's a yes, correct. It's a joint decision as to whether or not they're going to be a party. All right.
Thank you, folks.
Thank you. Appreciate it. All right, bye.